In this video, we will learn about how to create the assembly of the knuckle joint. If you didn't see how to create the different components of the knuckle joint, you can see my previous video which I had given in the description as a link. You can just check it out. Now let's move on to this video. Click on the assembly. First, let us try to insert the different parts. First, I am going to insert the fork end. Give the tick mark to confirm it. Whenever you are inserting any component, the first component you must fix it. So let us try to fix the fork end by right clicking in the tree. Just confirm the fix so that the fork end will be fixed over here. Now let's insert the second end, that is IN, and make a confirm. So here you can see I can align this particular hole with this hole over here. Okay, so for that I am going to use the revolute mate. The top center, you can fix it out with this bottom center. So that it will be aligned with this, the Z axis and Z axis I am coinciding. Just confirm and close it. Now we have connected the second one. Now let's try to insert the third part. So the third part I am going to insert is a pin. So this pin is going to be placed inside this hole. Let's try to make it. So here also the pin is allowed to revolve. So let me try to make the cylindrical mate between this one and this surface, the inner surface. So let us try to make. So here I don't want any translation, so let us try to make the revolute mate. So here the top face end, click on that, and here the top face end, confirm it. Okay. So now the remaining two parts we need to insert it. So let's insert the collar and let's insert the pin. So this two we have to place it over here. Okay. So for inserting that, the whole center has to be at this exact place. Okay. So let's try to first coincide this center with this center, then let's give the offset distance. So go for the fasten mate. Between this center and this center. So if you provide it, you can see there is a center distance between the inner hole and this collar hole, the pin hole and this collar hole. So that distance is actually 4 mm. That is on the negative direction. So let me give it as 4 mm. Now you can see that is moved. So here you can see that. Okay. So let's confirm it. So now the collar is inserted into the pin. Now I need to make this pin has to be inserted inside this. Okay. For that, there are two ways are there. One is you can able to make a mate connector on the collar center or on the pin center. So any one you can able to make it. And the other one, if I place the mate connector which is going to be at the center, if I coincide it, I can make the two parts together easily. So for that, let's try to learn how to create a mate connector on a particular component. So let us switch off the other components over here. For example, I am switching off except the collar. So let us try to make it. So pin end, eye end, pin, I am switching it off, that is hiding. Okay. Now let's try to insert a mate connector exactly on the center, which is having the Z axis in the orientation of the taper pin. Okay, let's try. I am trying to move the mate connector here from this one. Now let me try to move it towards the center, -6, so that it will move towards the center. Now I am going to rotate. Actually this one I have missed out here. So this one I am going to rotate about y axis so that Z will come and align with this hole. So I am going to rotate about y axis and the rotation angle is 90 degrees. So now you can see here it is aligned with this one. Now let's try to do the fasten mate between this one and this center, so that both will be aligned properly. Now you can switch on everything. We can see here all the parts are assembled together now. So if you want to switch off the mate connectors, you can switch it off if you want. Or if you want to switch off all the mate connectors, right click over here. First let us show all mate connectors. Then if you want to hide all mate connectors, you can hide it. So everything we have aligned. Now if you want to just check it out, the revolute mate, you can see it over here. So this is how it will be revolved. If you want to constrain it, you can do the constraining from this end to this end. I want to provide. So in that case, so you can reorient the secondary axis. Okay. So in this case, if you reorient the secondary axis, it will start from here as a 0. So let's try to provide the limits. So in the 0, the angle of orientation 0 is maximum and 0 is minimum and 180 is maximum. If I provide that, you can feel the difference now. So here it's 0, it's 180. So now let's try to reorient the axis again. Now you can see here this is 0 and this will become 180. So now it will only move along this particular direction. It won't move beyond that. So now we have completed our assembly. Now let us try to create the drawings. Let's create the drawing. Create drawing. I am selecting the template as ISO A4. Give OK. Now in the first sheet, let us try to create the assembly. Then we will move on and create the individual component drawings. So go to the assembly, click on the assembly. So defaultly the front view will come. So let's click over here for the front view. Then it will show you the top view. Then let's go for the side view and isometric view if you want. So you can click over here in the projected view. So the side view and the isometric view. So for isometric view, just click on the front view and move your mouse diagonally to get the isometric view. Suppose if you want to change the scale, you can double click over here and change the scale to 1:3 or 1:2 if you want, so that you can able to make it bigger. So let me keep it as 1:3 or 1:2. Let's try to make it. Okay, no, it's going too big. So let's make it as 1:3 and let's confirm it. So here you can see the fillet edges are coming over here. I don't want the fillet edges. If you want, you can see here at this place you are having the fillet edge. So these are all fillet edges. So you don't want this fillet edge to be placed over here, means you can manually remove it. So how we can remove? Let's just check it out. So right click over, show bar hide. Show bar hide edges. Select that and select the edges which is created only due to the fillet. So if you switch off everything, let's give it as OK. Now you can see that fillet edges are removed. Similar way you can able to remove it in all the views. Let's try to remove it. So show bar hide edges. So you just select this edge and this. Now let's give OK. Now let's try to move over here. So these light lines are your hidden edges. Show bar hide edges. So confirm it. Similarly here also you can able to remove the edges if you want. Show bar hide edges. So if you want to remove this face, you can give OK, so that it will look neat on your isometric view, so that it will be properly visible. Now let's try to insert the BOM here, bill of materials. For that, let me go into the assembly first. So here click on the bill of materials table. So the default one is here. Let me try to add the column of name and material. Let me try to remove the part number column and description column. So let me move the name to the left side and material to the left side. So the quantity is over here. Now let's try to give the material for all these things. So let's double click it and change this material as different types of steels are available. So let me make it as hardened alloy steel. So this one also hardened alloy steel. And the remaining three, let me make it as a carbon steel. So double click over here and make it as carbon steel. And the collar, I am making it as a carbon steel. And the taper pin, let me make it as a carbon steel. Let's confirm it. So we got the BOM table corrected here. Now let's go into the drawing and insert it. So here, let's insert the BOM table. So it will be coming under the node BOM table. So I'm going to select the stamp point as this, right top, and select it over here. So first, initially the default BOM table will come. If you want to update the BOM table from the assembly, just click over here, update from this workspace. So it will be updated over here. Now we got our BOM table. Now let's try to create the individual assembly. So here you provide the title. Knuckle joint assembly. And type your register number over here. Okay, or your name will be coming as default over here, so no need to change it. Now let's try to create the individual component drawings. So for that, I don't have enough space here, so let's try to add a new sheet over here. So click on this one to create a new sheet. So once it is inserted, now let's try to make the different views for each and every components. So go to this place and insert view. In the insert, go to the part studio and click on the forkend. This is our first part. So for that, front view and top view, I'm drawing it. This two is enough. You can make it. So here also you can remove the edges over here. For example, let me remove the edges by giving show bar hide edges. So this 4 edges and this 2 edges, I can remove it. Similarly here, I want to remove the edges which represents the fillet. So let me confirm it. Now provide the cross section over here. So here you can do the partial sectioning or you can do the full sectioning if you want. So let us try to do the partial sectioning over here. Okay. So for that, I'm going to use the broken out section. So here in this one, first let us try to make the dimension on the top view first, so that you can understand how much depth I need to give it on the broken out section. Okay, so let us try to make it. Go to dimension. So this one is radius 24 and this one is diameter 24. Okay, so now the diameter 24 is there, radius 24 is there. So that one I am going to show it over here in the cross section. The whole I am going to show it here. So for that I am going to use a broken out section. For that you need some profile to be drawn. Let's draw it again. Broken out section. So this one I am going to make the section. Depth of section cut it is asking. You can see here it is radius 24. So I am giving diameter 24, that is up to the center I am going to make a cut from one end. So at the center I want to make a cut. So here the depth of section cut I am going to represent it over here. Or let's provide the offset distance as 25 mm. Now you can see it over here. From this point the offset distance is 25 mm. Okay, so it's confirmed it. Now let's try to change the settings over here. So in this one I want to change the pattern as general, ANSI, so that it will be like a continuous line. Now let's try to insert other parts. So here first let us complete the dimensions. For that let's try to make the center mark over here. Yes, for this radius I'm going to mark the center, and for the circle I'm going to mark the center. Now let's try to provide the dimensions over here. So for this also, edge to edge center line between these two edges. So I'm going to make the center line. In this one, let me try to extend this. Now let us try to provide the dimensions. So between this center and this center, the dimension is 30. So let's try to make it shorter. And the dimension between this center and this end, it's 104. And this radius is 32. And the diameter is already given over here. This thickness is 18. And this gap, it is 28. This gap, it is 18. and here between these two you're having this. For this one I need to insert a symbol, so for that I'm going to insert a symbol of square. So square 28. But you can see the dimensions are too big, so let us try to change the settings in the dimensions. So text height is 3.5. Let's try to make it as a 2 so that it will be shorter. Now let us try to insert all other dimensioning, all other components. Let's try to make it. Sorry. Now let's insert the IN over here. So for this one, this is the front view and the top view. Now let's remove the unnecessary edges, fillet edges here. So let's try to remove that. Show bar hide edges. So these two edges I want to remove it, because this one represents the sharp edge, so that's okay. Now let's try to create a cross section. If you want, you can do the cross section here, or you can just simply make it as a hidden line. If you want to show the hidden line, you can show it, but it's not important over here because it's clearly represented, so no need to do it. So these two edges let me hide just for better representation. Now let's try to provide the dimensions over here. If you want the hidden lines for the whole, you can make it, but it's clearly visible on the top view, so you no need to represent. So dimension, so this one on the top, this one over here. Suppose if you want to provide any dimension from this center to this edge on the front view, then you can provide the section. Otherwise, no need to provide the section. So here two ways to represent the distance from here to this. For example, from this place to this place, you can provide it as 86. But if you want to provide the same over here, then you have to do the sectioning, the same broken out section. For example, let's create a broken out section. So broken out section. So you can see I had clicked on the center point, I didn't provided any offset. So if you just click over here, I have removed the broken out section. Okay. So at the center you are having the section here. Now if you want to provide the dimension between this center, so let's try to provide the center line mark here. Between these two, I am drawing a center line. Now if you provide the dimension between this one and this edge, then you can provide it as 86. Suppose if you want to provide this 86 over here, then you can do it like that. Otherwise, it's not required. So this one is of diameter 25. So let's represent it by diameter. and here also the diameter is 25. So let's represent the diameter here. So now we have inserted two parts. Now let's try to insert all other parts, the 3, 4 and 5. Let's try to insert it. Insert. So in this one, first let me insert the pin front view. And top view. So here let's try to provide the dimensions of this cap and the distance between this end and this end. It is 80 and this diameter is 38 and this diameter it is 24. Let's insert it as diameter 24. Okay, and here we are having a hole at this portion. So you can provide a hidden line over here, or you can do the same type of cross section over here. So let's try to use the hidden lines here. So for this one, right click over the view, show bar hide and show hidden lines. So in that you can see a taper portion is over here. Similarly, on this one, if you want to provide the hidden lines, you can provide it over here. So if you want to insert the center mark, you can provide the center mark over here, and you can provide the dimension. Between this end and this end, it's going to be 10. Now let's try to insert the other parts. Insert. Go to the collar. So in that, first let me insert the top view so that I can create a sectional front view here. So this one, let me insert the top view. Then let's try to make a section view here, which is a horizontal section exactly through the center, and if you project it, you can able to get a section to front view. Here you can draw the dimensions of this collar. So diameter 38 and 24, and this thickness is going to be 12. Is going to be 12, and at this center, so the center mark we have to place it between this. So the center mark, let me extend, and the center is at a distance of 6 mm from one end. Now let's try to provide the taper pin. So here, insert view, insert part studio, taper pin. So now insert the taper pin here. So here it looks too small. If you want to make it bigger, you can make it. Just double click over here and change the size to 1:2 so that it looks better. Change the size to 1:2 and then confirm it so that it looks better. Now if you want to see the cross section over here, you can see it by providing the cross section. This is the side view. So here exactly the dimension which is on the center, we have to mark it, or you can just provide the slope over here. Let's try to make a center line. A center line between these two. So here in the center you can provide the diameter, or you can draw the section view first. So if it is required, you can draw the section view, but in general we cannot draw the section view for the pin. Just you need to provide the slope for this. So for adding a slope, so you need a leader. First for that, let me make a note over here. So the note is of slope is 30. So we have added a data here. In this one you can change the size if you want as 2. Okay. Then you select the node and provide add leader. So in this, just place it over here. So you can say that the slope is of dimension 1:30. The slope is of dimension 1:30. Like that you can provide it. Okay. So I think we have completed all the component drawings. Thanks for watching the video.